time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back and happy Monday. All right, guys, do we have a treat for you? Yes, we do. We have the #1 legal commentator, badass attorney, Emily D. Baker, who's joining us to not only recap the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, but also to talk about all of her success along the way. I mean, she's not only a friend of the channel, we're a friend of the law nerds, but also at this point, she's just a friend in real life and we love her. So if you guys haven't, go ahead, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. And I pinned at the top of the live chat where I'm dropping an exclusive surprise interview that I haven't talked about, but that's premiering tonight at 5:30 p.m. So trust me, you'll want to join me for that. Now with that, let's welcome Emily D. Baker. Hi, Emily.
Hey, it's good to see you. Hello, everybody.
I love a good black hat moment.
I know. And it's, I love a good black hat moment and always enjoy that coming on your channel. But B, I just got off a plane just a few hours ago after very little sleep because I love early flights because you have the whole day, but then also the wake up time to get to the airport is brutal. I'm a girl who likes to sleep.
I like my sleep too. We've had a crazy weekend. So being back and kicking off Monday, we're like, oh, here we go again. Let's kick off the week. But
yeah, my weekend was
a month, not just a week.
It's been crazy since somewhere in April. And it's been great. It's been crazy. It's been great. I
love it. Well, I have to say, congratulations on all of your success throughout covering the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. It looked like an absolute shit show. And I didn't even realize because I was catching bits and pieces of what you were talking about. I mean, it was daily and not just daily. You were live streaming for hours and it was one thing coming out after another. And then finally I caught myself at an airport and I'm looking at it because there was nothing to do. Jason and I's plane was delayed and we're looking and we just looked at the moments from the trial and I was like, oh my gosh, I get why everybody is so into this. This is a shit show.
It was wild. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And there is nothing stranger than truth and the things that go down in courtrooms. I have had moments in courtrooms where I've been like, is this happening right now? But there's only you and the jury and the court staff there to witness it. And then you tell your friends later when you go back to your office. This was that on a world scale. So I knew that this trial had the potential for these moments that were memorable, that were wild, but also for a much larger conversation about some really heavy topics. I mean, this is a defamation case, but the underlying thing is domestic violence. And those are really serious topics. And I wanted to make sure that we could, enjoy the levity of the trial when there were moments that were like, oh my God, that just happened, but not lose focus too on the fact that this is really heavy stuff and be able to walk that balance of, having a viewing experience watching this trial, but also remembering that these are real people having real life stuff that is just messy and that celebrity's not a lot different than anyone else, right? I mean, they have a lot of mess in their relationship. And that's one of the things this trial showed us, but a cast of characters for sure. The attorneys became very memeable. The experts were either great or horrific. And so there were a lot of things in this trial to talk about. And this is how courtrooms go. Not everything's planned. Not everything's predictable. Things go off the rails. Things happen. An Amber Alert goes off during closing arguments. I have never.
So that's what I want to get into here because there were so many shocking moments and, somehow we got from this to this, right? And it's like, what the hell is happening? And this happens in people's everyday lives where there's breakups, things are messy. But what would you say if you can name a few of your kind of most shocking takeaways from covering this trial? It can be on Johnny Depp's side or Amber Heard's side, but there was the bruise. Was it fake? Was this makeup? There's the defecating on a bed. There was the liquor bottle. I mean, I don't even really, that makes me so uncomfortable, but there was a lot.
There was a lot. And I think, we can talk about the moments, the moments in this trial, because there are definitely some moments, but at the end of the day, I've not seen a witness testify like Amber Heard. Her testimony didn't come off as credible for a lot of things. There were moments where I'm like, I absolutely believe that happened. I believe that they said horrible things to each other in the course of this relationship. I believe that she felt controlled in her work. But also when we saw Johnny Depp's side saying she asked me to help her like steer a different course in Hollywood. So I don't know how much of that was him exerting control or him being like, you asked me to help, WTF. I still don't know, but there was clearly control and mistrust in this relationship. They said horrible things to each other. I don't think either of them trusted the other fully. And she was the one lashing out physically in anger, which is what I took away from all the evidence. And he would lash out with his words, and he would slam the cabinets and do things that might be very intimidating, but those things don't match the rest of her testimony. And a lot of her testimony had very, very big allegations that just didn't seem to line up with everything else because they're celebrities, because she's alleging things that are going down the day before she's on the James Corden show. And everybody's looking at the James Corden show going, what you're showing us on television is not the outcome of what you described the day before. And so I think that's where a lot of people had trouble with her testimony. And if this had been a case where she was saying he was abusive verbally and emotionally and controlling, I don't think we would have seen this defamation case work. I think a lot of people got to that takeaway that was happening. But when you talk about these very, very violent physical things, her testimony just didn't ring true, and it didn't match all the other evidence. And I think Team Depp did a good job pointing out, for Amber Heard's story, for Amber Heard's side of this to be correct, everyone else is lying. The police are lying, the drivers are lying, the doctors are lying, the nurses are lying, everyone else is lying. And that's difficult to get to.
Was it weird when she was, when she was testifying? I would notice that she would take a question, so she would answer the question, but then she would look over to the jury and she would answer with like kind of this face on, almost like she was just completely distraught, but she would answer the question to the jury and not necessarily to the person who was asking her the question. It seemed like that happened a lot, but is that normal? Because you're trying to convince the jury, but is that her job up there testifying to do?
I've not seen a lot of victims want to look people in the eyes where they are retelling things that are horrific. I see a lot of times people will maybe look at their attorney, if it's their attorney, maybe look down and try to kind of sink out of view, because talking about things that are that violent is very, very uncomfortable. And generally I've seen people don't want to feel like they're being looked at that much. So the way she testified was strange in that way. And there are experts that do that very well. We saw it with Dr. Curry and some of the other experts explaining and looking to the jury, but they're there to teach the jury about something specific, and they're there to teach the jury about a particular thing. And so it's appropriate when you're teaching someone to look at them and be like, and then this happened, and then this is how this goes, and this is what I'm telling you about, and make sure that they're understanding you, because as an expert, your job is to make sure they understand. So, right. The text crew must have just gotten their notification.
Hi, text crew.
So you see that with experts. Johnny Depp's testimony was a bit more consistent with what I'm used to seeing from first person witnesses. Same with Isaac Baruch and others. You saw them look to the jury sometimes, but mostly look at the attorney that was asking questions, unless they were trying to explain a thing. When Johnny Depp was trying to explain his finger injury, as he was like placing where his hand was, he would kind of look at the jury and be like, it was here when you're explaining. But generally when he was talking about how he was feeling and how things went down, he was locked in with his attorney. So yes, the way that she stared down the jury was off-putting.
So my next question for you too was, when they were going to bat, I saw some of your commentary where her attorney called her by the wrong name, and this happened a couple of times. And we saw Johnny Depp's attorney where, she's making headlines and everybody's calling her like this legal titan, this pit bull, and everyone called her a rock star. So I want to bring up a photo for anyone. I feel like there's nobody in the world who has not seen this at this point. But what were your thoughts on her performance, since you do have the background of being in a courtroom?
I thought Camille Vasquez was great. I think she navigated a very, very difficult trial. And it can't be understated how hard it would be to have the biggest trial of your career televised. It's one thing to just have it happen in a courtroom where you have people sitting in the courtroom watching. I would always get very nervous when my colleagues would come and watch me in trial. It's nerve-wracking, have people watching you do your work, especially when the odds are so high and the stakes are so high. So to have all of that then televised worldwide with hundreds of thousands of people, days, millions of people watching it, the pressure on that can't be understated. And she absolutely nailed it. Her cross-examination was great. And there will be absolutely stylistic things that I'd be like, I don't love that you were reading off your notes and opening and closing, but also they're dealing with AV and multiple attorneys. And I would rather have somebody have a lot of notes than wander everywhere in a story that I can't follow, which is what we got from Heard's attorney. I think Camille Vasquez was a rock star. I think she is a rock star. I think she did a great job doing a phenomenal cross-examination. And I think it's nice to see people celebrating the good work of a up-and-coming female attorney. It's nice to see.
Well, speaking of an up-and-coming female attorney, what about this woman right here?
Okay, maybe not as up and coming. I still don't know if that's her in the other picture. I just don't know. I will allow everyone else to speculate. I just don't know. I thought Elaine Bredehoff was not having her best trial ever. I don't know how often she goes to trial. Her questioning style was awkward, and I think that she had a difficult client. She did things that really put me off. She mocked Johnny Depp's voice in some of her questioning that I thought was completely inappropriate and way too personal. She was snapping back at the judge, just completely. I don't think it's hearsay, Your Honor. Who are you saying that to the judge? It's, Your Honor, could we be heard? And then you go up to the bench and ask the judge, I don't think it's this. I don't think it's that. Her entire style I found to be very off-putting. And there were times where I felt bad for Amber Heard. Everyone, no matter how much you like them or how much you dislike them, everyone deserves good legal counsel and to at least feel like your attorney has your back. I can't imagine that Amber Heard felt like her attorneys actually had her back. You start with calling your client by the wrong name to the stand.
That's a moment.
It's a bad moment.
Would you, because you can always drop your legal counsel even in the middle of a trial, correct?
Not in a trial like that. You can't. No, you can't. Sorry, my camera was no. Not in a trial like that. You can't. This is a civil case, not a criminal case. The judge would have to. The judge would have to approve it, and there's no way the judge would approve counsel being replaced in the middle of trial in a case like this. There's no way.
So do you think that there was a moment where Amber Heard got into this and we started, like the weeks started playing out, the days became weeks, and, she's obviously reading the headlines. Everybody's trashing her attorney because she had so many moments where it's like an oops moment. Do you think Amber Heard was just sitting there like, damn it, man, I hired the wrong person to represent me and I'm screwed?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't follow Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, either of them, or their careers closely before this, the way I might have insight to a housewife that we watch so much because we see so much of their lives, where I might be able to be like, oh, I could see her thinking this way. I don't know if Amber Heard was like, damn these attorneys, and just yelling at them. Or if she was like, this is the media continuing to beat up on me. This is me continuing to be demonized and villainized, and see, they're even doing it to my attorneys. So my attorneys and I are on the same boat, and everyone is out to get us because all of these people are the worst and they are the scum of society, and that this is unfair treatment of the attorneys. I don't know. It could be either.
Because I was reading on social media where some people, and this is all speculation and conspiracy theories, right? But where some people were like, I feel like Amber Heard thinks that she has to put it on that much more and give that much, just be a little bit more extra for the jury because she was trying to make up for where her legal counsel was lacking. Is that something that people do?
It's not something I've ever seen anyone do. But I did mostly criminal litigation. And again, people didn't need to put on the things that happened where the things that happened. I mostly had the issue of people downplaying what happened and needing them to actually explain the entire thing. And they would be downplaying what happened to them because they were not wanting to share the most horrible things that had happened in their life. I have not seen anyone make it bigger. And when people started making things bigger, then we had very real conversations about whether those stories were the way things went down or not, and looking at all the other evidence. I don't know if she was trying to take control, but at the end of her rebuttal testimony, it felt like she was trying to make a closing argument to the jury. And I just wonder if that's because she didn't trust her lawyers or because she thought that she knew better. If you have attorneys, you have to trust them. And I got the sense that Johnny Depp trusted his team implicitly and that Johnny Depp's team trusted each other. You watched the lawyers work really well together. And I got the sense that they very much trusted one another and had each other's back. I didn't get the sense of that from Amber Heard or her team. And without trust, Amber Heard trying to steer the ship is not going to go well. It's like one person at the, the whatever the wheel thing is called on it, ship analogies. I'm not good with y'all. Sorry, whatever. And the other person like has the outboard motor and is trying to swing it around. Those two things have to work together. It's like being in a double kayak with someone you don't like very much. Everybody's got to kind of paddle the same direction. And if you're paddling against each other, you're not going to go anywhere and you're dead in the water. It's a better analogy.
Some of Jason and I's worst arguments have been kayaking. So yes, I understand that one.
Double kayaks double kayak. The D means divorce in double kayak. Solo kayaks only.
Single kayaks only.
Single kayaks only.
Tiffany, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you. What, if any problems, do you see with Elaine's press tour after?
To be fair, I have not seen all of it. I think that she is going to piss off the judge in doing it. I think she is almost taunting the jurors to come out. And I think that going on a press binge, undermining the jury system in a jurisdiction where you work could be a very big problem because this is where she regularly works. I think that a PR person could have been better.
Okay.
Suited for that.
That kind of answers Danny Bird's question too. What do you think about Elaine during the interviews? I mean, I can understand why she wants to do it. She feels like her client's story is not being told still. They can do that through legal filings. They're going to do that through their appeal filing. They're going to say, this is all the things we thought were messed up and they should have waited till then. I wonder how much this was Amber Heard saying, you've got to get out there and defend me. But a lot of media headlines are running with Elaine's narrative. So is it working for them? I don't know. All the law nerds that watch the whole trial are like, why is everyone saying that this result is the worst thing to ever happen to women? It's maybe the worst thing to happen to Amber Heard, but this is one case between these two parties. This does not bat signal, the world that no one will ever be believed again. This person isn't being believed. So it's interesting seeing the media kind of take up the talking points from Elaine. So I think she feels justified in doing it. I don't love it. So before
Sister Babylon.
Hi, Sister Babylon. Before I ask you Sister Babylon's question, I do want to ask you this. Would Amber Heard have been better off had she have just walked away from the divorce with the money that she got? She could have just continued on and tried to, continue pursuing her career. None of this would have been put out there and she wouldn't owe Johnny Depp money. Had she not have initiated this, would it be a completely different story for her? Now she has to kind of scramble, right?
I think it would be. And again, I wonder what motivated her to try to leverage this story. They had an NDA in their divorce settlement. And I think that Depp didn't go after the NDA because the NDA doesn't clear your name. Her violating the NDA and him suing for her violating the NDA doesn't get a verdict from a jury that says you didn't do what she said you did, or her saying that you did that is defamation. So I think that's why he went this route. I think that she could have been cautious. I think that she thought that she had a mountain of evidence. I think that she believed that the audio wouldn't play against her the way that it did. And I think she thought that society would not, or at least a jury would not, turn against her. And when we saw all of the evidence that came into court and the audio, her story just is not credible. And witnesses are allowed to, or juries are allowed to set aside witnesses they don't find to be credible. So I think she would have been better off just walking away, but I don't think she sees it that way. And we've heard her saying, my voice has been taken. No one has taken your voice. We have greater ability to have a voice in this day and age than anyone has had before. You can be on, you and I, Adam, have microphones and computers and an internet connection, and we're able to reach hundreds of thousands of people and talk. We have social media. We have the ability to have a voice. What you can't do is defame people.
Right. Okay. Sister Babylon said, question, the law in Virginia says that you have to post a bond in the amount of the judgment, the 10.35 million here, in order to appeal. Do you think Amber will be able to find the money? And she's saying that Amber Heard didn't have the cash.
Umbridge did say, so Umbridge is what I started calling Elaine Bredehoff, because she reminded me of Umbridge from Harry Potter, who made Harry Potter write "I shall not tell lies" or "I must not tell lies" over and over and over again. She reminded me of Umbridge, and her voice did. I don't know if she will find a company to do a bond appeal, or to help her to post a bond appeal or an appeal bond. So we'll see what happens when they file their notice of appeal, and we'll see if that is negotiated. Okay. So we'll see. That could be negotiated, though.
Okay. Beth Cauldron said, thank you, Emily, for providing us unbiased coverage and commentary, as well as non-divisive chat that is sadly missing with MSM and most social media platforms.
I just don't think this trial needs to be, I don't think most trials need to be divisive. Some of them can be based on their topics and based on the things that they deal with. They can be, but I don't think there was any reason. I was really, if I'm going to just take a moment to soapbox, I was really horrified seeing the treatment of a witness like Io across social media. Io's male, but had transitioned to being male. I don't know why it matters to Io's witness testimony. And I saw a lot of vitriol towards that witness. I'm like, we're watching witness testimony. What does any of this have to matter? And things got made very divisive that shouldn't be divisive. And so I was really glad that my audience and days we had, I mean, we topped out over 359,000 peak concurrent, that once people came into our chat, they were like, oh, this is how we do things here. It doesn't have to be Thunderdome on the internet. I know some people want to do that. We just say, okay, if you want to do that, there's room for that. That's not what we're here for.
Right. I mean, no, it does. Sometimes the chat gets nasty. And, I also, and this it's neither here nor there, but my live chat, because we had you joined us in Nashville, and you've been on the channel so many times, and we just love you over here. But even in my live chat, people were sometimes, saying, oh my gosh, I'm a law nerd. We love Emily so much. And then some people were like, this is not right that she is making money and growing her channel off of commentating on this legal case when Amber is giving her testimony. But I kept explaining that this is exactly what you're supposed to do. This is your job. Your job is to come on and explain these cases to someone like me who doesn't necessarily understand the legal jargon, and you can help me. It's almost like, for me, I feel like it's legal for dummies, for me, not for the law nerds, not for the Addams family, but for me. That's how I feel.
It's not legal for dummies. It's legal for muggles. Or legal for the non-legal, and that's fine. Not understanding our legal system, first of all, doesn't make anyone dumb. It's a very complex system, and I think some of that's by design, which I have problems with. But we have a very complex legal system, but it doesn't need to be if we break it down. And there were definitely those that criticized my channel growing based on coverage of this trial. But again, if it wasn't me covering it, it's going to still be Law and Crime, other channels. It's going to be Court TV. It's going to be all of the major media networks. And I think that I have a take on this case that can absolutely help, not just help understand, but also help bring compassion. So it's my job. And a lot of my videos aren't traditionally monetized based on the subject nature. So they were monetized through super chats, which I always am so grateful, but I never anticipated. I'm not like, okay, you guys, if you want a question answered, super chat. I've never set that as a barrier to entry on my channel, and I try to keep it that way. Sometimes it's hard when there are so many to honor.
I was about to say, with the live chat like
to
that,
honor super chats and non-super chats, it can be difficult. But I don't think I understand that there's criticism, but also I don't sensationalize things the way you're going to see in traditional media, and I don't do the kind of really just kind of appalling clickbaity, oh my God, Amber Heard's bumping lines on the stand and stuff like that. That's not what we're here for. So I don't have a problem with my coverage because I know that I'm in integrity doing it. So I know that some might, and that's okay. Some people have problems with YouTubers making money no matter what. People had huge criticism of Mr. Beast making money off of doing a Squid Game recreation. I understand that that's part of the platform. Not everybody wants to understand. That's okay.
Okay. I mean, I like that answer. Eve said, have you seen the clip of Dr. Doofenshmirtz telling Eileen that he will lie in his testimony prior to testifying?
I've seen the clips of Dr. Spiegel, who we call Dr. Doof because he was looking for Perry the Platypus in that courtroom. I think he was asking what he could rely on based on the fact that there are rulings generally about what experts are allowed to bring up and not allowed to bring up. So in the course of a trial, it does make sense to me that they'd be standing at the back of the courtroom going, can I rely on this or can I rely on that? I don't think he was saying I'll lie on this or I'll lie on that. And if he was going to, they would have done that in the conference room before he walked into the courtroom. I think he was a terrible expert. I don't think he was going to lie in his testimony. If he was going to lie in his testimony, he probably would have lied about calling Johnny Depp an idiot in his deposition. I just think the guy was awful, but I think he was talking about relying on things. That's what I thought.
I do have a question for you regarding Johnny Depp and his legal counsel, because there were a lot of rumors that people thought that there might be a relationship here. And this, obviously, when you're in a situation like this and in a trial like this, you're going to spend a lot of time with your legal counsel, right?
Years.
You have a lot to go over. And so my question is for you, did you get that at all from this? Or did you just think, no, she's representing him, she's helping him, she's spending a lot of time with him. I don't think that there's an actual physical relationship in the making here.
She hugged Ben Chew as well, and Ben Chew hugged Johnny Depp as well. These are Johnny Depp's gladiators. They are the one going into the ring fighting for him. I would have been surprised if they hadn't hugged. And it's funny because a lot of the talking points about this case are like, is it misogyny that the jury didn't believe Amber Heard? I'm like, where's the questions about all the media headlines? And this isn't against you at all, Adam, because you're bringing up the questions that people are asking, but why are the headlines allowed to disparage the credibility of Camille Vasquez by asking if she's having an inappropriate, intimate relationship with her client as a lawyer? And that is okay, but it's not okay to have questions about Amber Heard's testimony. So the media has been saying it's okay to ask this, but it's not okay to ask this. And the whole thing has pissed me off. Camille is engaged. I don't love the assumption about who people are into either, but that's a whole nother question because, Camille's 38 years old. How old is Johnny Depp now?
Right.
I think I have hugged almost everyone I have worked with. I have hugged witnesses. I have hugged victims, unless they don't want to be hugged. But after you go through a trial with someone, and you have helped give them voice, that's a powerful connection. I've been hugged by defendants, not always wanting to be, but that happened once in juvenile. It scared the crap out of me. I can't see how people are making that stuff more than what it is. And what it is somebody who's saying you've done a great job. I mean, I don't know. Why do baseball players smack each other on the ass? Are they all in a relationship too?
Maybe this is a silly question, and I think sometimes you say, no, ask all the questions.
Ask all the questions.
Ask all the questions. But my question is, say she is engaged, okay? But in some other world, if Johnny Depp did have someone representing him, whether it was a man or a woman, it doesn't matter, gender doesn't matter. But if they did start to, get into this intimate relationship, would that be problematic for that person representing him? And can that person be kicked off the case?
There are a lot of rules of attorney ethics. California is one of, and this could have changed. It's something because I don't take clients in that way. It's not something I've ever spent a lot of time looking at when it is okay that you have a intimate relationship with a client. I think it needs to start before they become a client, and it can be a problem when they start after they're already a client. So there are rules of ethics about it. I don't remember California's specifically, but it can be a very, very big problem, and not all jurisdictions allow it. Some jurisdictions are a complete no-go on having any type of relation with clients, unless, again, that relation existed before. So if you are an attorney and you're in a relationship with someone and they need representation, then there can be waivers and things like that. But It depends on the jurisdiction. They had to adhere to the rules in Virginia. There's also rules in California, and I don't know those off the top of my head. But yes, it can be a problem. And I don't think she's risking her life and career for a client 20 plus years her senior.
58, yeah.
And again, not that people have relationships with older lawyers, Erica Girardi, but I think that you want to do your job. I'm sure there is a great amount of fondness there that they have for each other. I just don't think that crosses the line into being a relationship. And I think people can have admiration and respect for the people in their life without it being a relationship.
Okay.
I don't think the media sees that.
Well, no, because of course they're going to sensationalize this and make it about something that it's not about, because that is 9 times out of 10.
Which has got to be hard. Imagine having like your absolute best work performance ever. And what the media wants to talk about, because you are an attractive woman, is if you're sleeping with somebody. It just is so demeaning. Yeah. But yes, you guys in the chat, I did make Adam hug. I hugged him more than once.
No, that's okay. You took me out of my bubble. All right.
Adam's like, I'm still uncomfortable, but it's all right. We're going to pretend it's okay. She's never going to do it again.
I'm never going to see her again. No. It's so funny because I just got this too this past week, where Jason is like a hugger and he'll embrace you. And then when I hug, I'm just kind of like,
It's okay.
Okay.
We don't judge you. I'll hug Jason and let him pass it on later.
I appreciate that. Jason tries to hug me and I'm like, get the hell out of here, karate chop. Okay. Devin Jett said, question, what happened to the $7 million that she pledged? Her crying broke validates that she was never going to donate it.
Devin, these are the real questions. Sure does. She's like, I fully intend to pay it, but then I got sued. The thing I loved in this trial is Camille Vasquez so well pointed out that Amber Heard didn't get sued till like 13 months later, 13 months after she got all of the divorce money. I don't think she ever intended to pay it. And I don't think she ever thought that she was going to get called out on it.
Do you think, before I ask the next question, and you weren't kidding, the super chats are like, wow, everybody's so excited to get your input on this. Do you think that this could have been the nail in the coffin for either one of their careers with all of the information that came out? Are they both just screwed moving forward? And a lot of people will look at them differently as kind of maybe a liability to have them represent whatever movie or film or project that it is?
I think it's possible. I do think it's possible that this was mutually assured destruction. And that's what I said at the beginning of this trial. This really might be mutually assured destruction, where neither of them come out of this great, because we saw a lot of the ugly side of Johnny Depp too. I don't think it was all of what Amber Heard said it was, but we did see an ugly side of both of them. For Amber Heard, if she is accused someone now of horrific things, and a jury found those statements to be defamatory. If you're a movie, if you're another actor, are you worried about her being on set? We have not seen great things come out about her from everyone who's worked with her, but we've seen some really nice statements from Jason Momoa and others in the past. So I just don't know, but I worry that because the internet being the internet, they are not going to allow Amber Heard to move on. You've seen the petitions to get her out of Aquaman, and I think that those types of petitions will continue. I hope that at some point she is able to move on and have a life and move on from this. I think it'll be easier for Johnny Depp to move on. But I think the lying about the donation, the lying about some of the other little things was just too much. And then the audio of they're never going to believe you. Tell a judge, tell a jury, they're never going to believe you. I think those are the things in this case that lost it for Amber Heard.
Okay. Elizabeth Turner, what's the statute of limitations for perjury?
I would have to look at Virginia specifically. They generally run 2 to 3 years in a jurisdiction. So I would need to look for Virginia. Everybody wants Amber Heard to go to jail. I just don't see Amber Heard going to jail over any of this. I don't think that they are going to look at her for perjury in this case. I don't know if the UK is. I've seen reports that the UK is looking into perjury over the donated versus pledged. We'll see what happens.
America wouldn't extradite her over to the UK for something like that, would they? No? Okay. Vogue failure. Do you think Amber will be granted her appeal?
I think she'll be granted the right to appeal. Do I think she'll win? I don't know. I haven't seen what grounds they're appealing on. So, but the having the right to appeal is whether the appellate court is like, yes, we'll hear you. So they have to have enough grounds to cross that threshold. I think they'll probably get an appeal heard, but we need to see it filed first before I speculate too wildly on it. Appeals, there's a lot of lawyers that say appeals are for losers because you never appeal if you've won. And they don't often win.
Okay. Ann T said, thanks, Adam. Love you. And Emily, question, Emily, worst case, how long could this drag out with appeals?
Years.
So this is just the never ending. This is going to be a shit show. So at this point,
unless she lets it off, unless she lets it down, unless she stops and just lets it go, it will stop. I mean, if she stops, it will stop. I don't think she's going to stop. So then it will not stop. And she testified, I just want Johnny to leave me alone. And he's like, I went to the UK to play music. You leave me alone. Like, it's your turn to leave me alone. I don't think she's done though.
You know, my question here too, and Joe Mendoza has kind of a great question. Thank you, Joe. But my question is, when it comes to the money, if she doesn't have $10.35 million to pay back, how would that work moving forward? Would the court kind of figure out some sort of payment system where they would like take away maybe 20% of what she's making yearly until the debt's paid off and then add interest onto that? Or what happens if you can't afford to pay it?
They can chase you to the ends of the earth. Getting a judgment, we're seeing this in the Girardi case. The Girardi case is what happens when you can't pay it, is you get, you fight till the ends of the earth to try to attach it. The Gomez family had to put actual liens on all of the property, everything, so that if he sold anything, they could get a portion of it. And that's something that Depp could choose to do. I think Depp might choose to negotiate this settlement down to cover legal fees and be like, hey, I don't need this whole amount. Can we just negotiate it down and figure it out? I think they'll try to negotiate the judgment because they can choose to negotiate the judgment and to a settlement. And that might be a settlement, including never say any of these things again. We'll see. So they can negotiate it down. But if she's going to appeal, I would imagine they wouldn't negotiate it down yet.
Did you find it cringy when Johnny Depp was smiling and kind of chuckling in moments that she was giving her testimony?
There were times that I thought it was inappropriate. Absolutely. And there were times when I thought he was a little bit too snarky towards the other lawyers and that it could make him look flippant. And we saw Amber Heard's team seize on that and be like, and yeah, Amber Heard herself on the stand being like, I'm not the one sitting here laughing and smiling. Though I also have been known to sometimes laugh when I'm really uncomfortable. So I try not to judge too harshly, but yeah, I don't think it was a great look. I don't know how much the jury cared.
Okay. Also, before I ask Joe's question, and maybe this is misinformation, but someone told me that the reason that Amber was granted $2 million, correct?
Yes.
And it was because of something, was it because of something that one of Johnny Depp's attorneys said, or why was she granted that $2 million?
It was. She won one of her counts. So there were two lawsuits. Johnny Depp was suing her for the statements in the op-ed, and then she was suing Johnny Depp over statements his previous lawyer, Adam Waldman, had made in, I think, the Daily Mail UK. And so there were cross claims, and one of the claims she won, and then she was granted $2 million in compensatory or compensation damages for that, and then no punitive damages for that.
Okay.
So she won one. And I think this indicates to us that the jury was really looking at what the police said, because the police officers, the way they broke down that night when the police showed up, didn't square with the Waldman statement. So I think this was the jury trying to work together and come up with a verdict and being like, yeah, but this didn't go down that way either. I'm very curious how they got there. And I know there was somebody purporting to be one of the jurors over on TikTok. I have not seen independent verification of that. So I'm taking all of that with a grain of salt, but we don't know how the jurors came to that, or if they compromised and said, look, that statement's technically false too. So we're just holding everyone accountable for the things they said that weren't true.
When the jury comes up with their verdict, whether it's guilty or not guilty of these counts or whatever the case is it the judge who decides the final amount after taking so who decides the amount?
The jury.
So they get to just a bunch of random people who were brought in get to decide, you know what, it's not 50, it's not 100. We're going to go with 10 point whatever million dollars. And that feels good to us.
It's supposed to be based on the proof. So it's supposed to be based on what they're shown, because both sides had a lot of witnesses trying to prove damages to the jury. So it's supposed to be founded in what the facts of the case are. But also UC jury's going, 10 million feels appropriate. Wave our magic jury wand, it's $10 million. So they decided 10 million in compensatory. And again, that's compensation damages, where it's compensating you for lost roles, lost things, like something, it's trying to replace the thing. And it's hard to put an amount on a trial and a reputation, but that's what they try to do. The 5 million were punitive damages. Those are you suck damages, like punishment damages, like, hey, we hate what you did. And so those punitive damages are the 5 million towards Amber Heard and 0 towards Johnny Depp. And I think that spoke very loudly. Now, I will say, to be specific, the jury awarded 5 million, but by statute, by law in Virginia, that's capped at 350,000. So the judge reduced it immediately to 350,000.
Okay. And then Joe Mendoza.
That's where we get the 10.3.
The 10.3. Is there a loophole where Amber Heard might not have to pay?
No loophole. The only way she doesn't have to pay is if Johnny Depp chooses to let her not pay. This is an intentional tort. It's it's got that malice element, that willful falseness element, that knowing falseness, and you can't get to bankruptcy on that. So no, there's no loophole.
Okay, there's no loophole. And I know that Emily's blown up and she has a lot going on. She has a lot to do. Okay. So I'm going to try to hit these and respect everyone's super chats really quick. Jennifer, I appreciate you. I followed you through the entire Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. I couldn't afford any donation for your wonderful work and time, but thank you for bringing intelligent content and stimulating conversation to YouTube. What will be next for you? Oh, I can't wait to hear this one.
Well, the next trial that's coming up that I want to cover is the Jen Shah trial. That is coming up in July, but there will not be televisions. There will not be streams out of the courtroom. So that is on the ground. And so the family and I are working out what that means for what looks like it might be a 4-week plus trial, and how you choose how much of the trial you can be there for, et cetera. And then we've still got Girardi stuff going on. So I'm going to continue covering the things I covered before this trial, the way that I covered them.
Bravo. I love it.
Before I covered this trial. And again, this trial got covered by me because these are massive celebrities in defamation. I do cover a lot of defamation cases, from Cardi B to Ethan Klein. So that's why this trial was kind of a natural fit. I was very curious to see. But am I going to just start covering everything that has a stream coming out of the courtroom? No. It needs to align with what I cover already.
Okay. Lisa Hicks, what about her saying she paid $6 million, but I'm hearing she used her house insurance umbrella policy?
Well, I think what she said, and I need to go back and watch it, is I've already spent $6 million. So I could see squibbles over, well, if your homeowners is paying for it, technically you could be on the hook if it's an intentional tort. So she might be responsible to her insurance for that. So,
okay.
So I'm not going to quibble with it too much, because I just it's possible she's using umbrella, but it's possible she'll have to pay that back because it's intentional.
Got it. Norma said, can Elaine get in trouble for Kying Media Blitz? She has accused the fans of influencing the jury.
I think that's lying.
Oh, lying?
Based on where the L is on the keyboard next to the K.
Okay.
I don't think she can get in trouble with anyone but the court, and we'll see if she gets in trouble with the court.
All right. Woo Daddy said that her legal fees could be discharged in bankruptcy. Also, Emily, please have him on to talk Girardi.
We will be talking Girardi. I don't know if I'll talk to Wood Daddy about Girardi, but that's Law and Lumber, who's another YouTube creator who is,
he's his own creator.
He's Wood Daddy now, which I think he loves, or maybe doesn't, but I'm not sure. Rob's a great guy, but legal fees can be discharged. The judgment cannot be. So that would be the real comeuppance for Elaine if Amber Heard files bankruptcy and discharges all of the legal fees and still has to pay Johnny Depp, but the lawyers don't get paid.
Okay. Elizabeth Turner, aren't Elaine's comments to the media about Depp beyond the trial, saying Johnny did kick Amber, the same as what Amber Heard won from the Waldman statement?
I didn't see her make a statement that Johnny did kick Amber. I saw a statement where she was talking about a third-party text message, and I need to go back through all of those statements again. It was a Dave Matthews weekend for me, so my brain was elsewhere. I need to go back through and see if there's anything that I see as hugely problematic, but if there is anything hugely problematic, Depp's legal team is going to be on top of it. I think that some of this might still be covered by litigation privilege. I think there's an argument that the litigation is over. So these are some areas that are getting deeply, deeply nerdy.
Okay.
So it's just stuff. Some of it's stuff I need to think about a little bit more. Yeah.
Is it harder for you, since your next big trial that you're going to be covering, Jen Shah, is it harder for you to, is it more challenging to cover a trial like that where it's not televised? Or
Absolutely.
Because you have to really put yourself into it, collect the information, and the information doesn't come out right away, right?
Or you have to be there.
Can you be in the room?
Yeah.
But why you? Why would they let you in the room when there's probably like 1,000 people who want to get in there? Is it just like press pass?
I don't think we're going to see that many people trying to be in the gallery with this case like other cases, because the Southern District of New York isn't going to allow people waving at Jen Shah and stuff like that. It's a federal court. It's a lot different. So we didn't see a full gallery with the Ghislaine Maxwell case, and they generally have an overflow. I don't think we're going to see the amount of interest from media or from the public that we saw with this case. So it's hard to rely on reporting for me, because reporters are looking for different things than lawyers are looking for. So some of the things that might be really interesting for a story might not be the most legally significant, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
So there's just different vantage points that you're looking at something from, and that's one of the reasons I want to be there for as much as I can be.
Okay. Mama C said, thank you for all that you do. Awesome to hear, y'all. Question: the June 24th judgment for payment, is that the lawyers only open court, closed room?
They might, I don't even know if the lawyers will need to be in court to enter the judgment. They might all do it by video call because they're out of state. So that probably will not be televised. I think the cameras are out of the courtroom now and it's done. So that we'll see minute orders after it happens. It'll just be entering the judgment, and we'll see that filed after the fact.
Did you feel like it was kind of a big FU for him to not be in the courtroom when they did finally give the verdict?
I don't know. I think none of them, I think it might have been good for neither of them to have been in the courtroom on a case like that. I think he's saying that he wants to move on. So right. Some people think it's a bad look. Some people don't. I'm not going to supplant my judgment. I think it was a choice. I'm sure his legal team, again, has a reason to make that choice. I think both of them maybe should have not been there.
Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. And I wanted to say really quick too, because I know that you only have like 5 minutes left.
It's okay.
How do you feel after all of this? Like the incredible, like you were already, everyone knows who you are. You're already on the map, but a case like this in your coverage and people like falling in love with you, people who didn't know who you were, getting to know you and finding out, oh my gosh, this is my go-to. I love this woman. They love your commentary. This was a whirlwind for you. This just was like in a month, all of a sudden I'm looking at your numbers and I was going through my canvas for thumbnails and stuff. And I saw one where I had you on, I think it was in April, where it said, congratulations, Emily, on 200K. And now you're what are you at this point? 630. 630,000. We're going to be celebrating. Remember when you unboxed your, and then I asked you, and then I told you I was getting mine, and then you're like, well, it's not as heavy as you think. And this, I cannot wait until you get your million one, because this is going to be the play button.
It's wild.
It's wild.
It's been, I really am humbled that so many people wanted to see what was going on inside the courtroom and not just rely on headlines. I was really encouraged to see people wanting to understand, even when they disagree, even when they don't like things that are happening in court, they at least want to know for themselves and make up their own mind. And that is so tremendously encouraging to me, that we have such large and growing communities that are like, no, I just want to know. Can somebody please just tell me what's actually happening and let me decide for myself how I feel about it? And I think that's a big push, because right now a lot of reporting has spin to it, and not just facts, not just these witnesses testified today. And I think people want to get back to, let me decide how I feel. Let me decide what I think, but just tell me what happened. And I really like being able to do that. And I like being able to do that on my channel, and getting to continue to grow means that there are more people that are looking to be able to make up their own minds. And I think that that keeps us a healthy and vibrant society. So I like it.
Wow, what a cotton can, like very positive. I love that. A very positive answer, because I'm thinking about some of the people who are out here who have dragged you, and I'm like, no. You want to know why?
But that's going to happen though. I realize,
over you.
but Adam, I am a 40-something-year-old purple-haired tattooed creator. I have taken the box that I put myself in of like, lawyers do this way. I have lit the box on fire and like shuttled it off of a cliff. And living your life differently can make people uncomfortable. Talking about things the way I talk about can make people uncomfortable. I challenge other people's perceptions of lawyers, perceptions of conversations, and sometimes perception of the internet. You come into our chat, that's not what most people expect a large live chat to be like, because we've created something different. And I know that that sometimes pushes people's buttons. And there are always going to be people that don't like me. It's just with the internet, you can actually hear what they're saying.
Okay.
So,
okay.
It really, I'm not going to fight with other people's opinions. Was it RuPaul that said other people's opinions of me are none of my business? People are going to try. The law nerds know what it is. So
they know what it is. Well, guys, I do want to say really quick, I know that there were a couple more super chats, and Emily does.
We'll wrap up. We'll wrap up the super chats. Let's
do it.
Speed run. I was late coming in because of tech, which is completely my fault. So I apologize.
All right. So then we'll hit these really quick. What are your thoughts on the hotel cost of Johnny Depp $1,000 a night versus the $22,000 a month mansion Amber Heard laid their heads at night?
I didn't know any of that, but it seems like if you're $1,000 a night for a month, that's probably going to be around 30,000. So maybe the $22,000 was a better deal instead of going nightly at a hotel, but everybody needed to be comfortable.
Okay.
So
Emily, will you be covering Sherry Papini? Is that the name?
Sherry Papini pled. I followed up on it on my channel, so I have a video about it. Sherry Papini pled and is pending sentencing, so I'll cover the sentencing. So that's not going to go to trial.
Okay. Janice P, thank you so much. Helene, what do you think about Erica saying things critical of the victims on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and implying that her side is winning?
I have not gotten to watch any Housewives. I have not gotten to watch anything other than this trial. And so I will be looking and letting you know what I think. I think when Erica feels backed into a corner, we see her lash out.
Okay. I mean, I think that's a great point. Okay, hold on. Here's the next one. Laura Donnell said, could Johnny Depp not seek payment beyond legal fees in lieu of Heard's team not appealing?
I don't know if they would. You have the right to appeal. I think asking someone to waive their appeal for that kind of settlement doesn't go well. I would need to look and see even if you legally can make, I mean, you can kind of make anything in terms of settlement. I think it would be more of a permanent injunction to stop from making future defamatory allegations like these and to reduce the amount of settlement. So we could see it.
Okay. Emily D. Baker, do you have experience with diversion courts? If also, what are your thoughts? I'm a social worker and worked as a liaison with a special population in mental health for a few years, did outreach in county jails.
And Dub, that must have been tremendously interesting and sometimes difficult and often gratifying work. I do have experience with diversion courts. I never staffed them personally, but knew the DAs that did and would send cases to diversion courts. I think there's a lot of room for courts that are used to dealing with a specific population, particularly when it comes to things like mental health, like narcotic use. There's just ways to deal with it. And when the whole court's on the same page, you just have better resources. I also, one of the courthouses I worked at had a specific domestic violence court. So not quite a diversion court, but a court that was very well versed in dealing with the intricacies and difficulties with domestic violence prosecution. So I think that the more people know, the better they can do. So always a good thing.
All right. Janice P, will you need a paralegal in New York? Haha, Emily, just wanted to say women like you is why I wanted to enter the legal field. Aww.
Oh, Janice, thanks. Tremendously kind. Thank you. You never know, maybe.
Ruthie B, Emily, how does the appeal process work? Thanks for all of the judicial information.
On a very, 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 very simplified form, you have to tell the appeals court what you think happened wrong. And you can look at my coverage of the Jussie Smollett case. We talked a bit about their appeal. And when Cardi B, Tasha K goes back to appeal, that appeal, there was notice of appeal filed, but we didn't see the appeal yet. They have to write up everything they think the trial court did wrong and why they think they should get a different result. But they should be making their motions to set aside the verdict in the trial court first So there's some things that need to happen before it gets to appeal. And then the appellate court looks at the law and looks at the transcript and says either yes, something happened and it should go back and be fixed, or no, something didn't happen and it shouldn't be fixed. So that's the general process for appeal. If she can post the appellate bond.
Elzora, thank you. Mainstream media coverage should just be unbiased. And then our last question here is from Sarah
why is it so hard to be like, hey, this thing happened? This thing happened. Because then you can go to opinion. It's not like there are a lack of talk shows. You can go to talk shows for opinion. You know what that you're there for, and you know who the hosts are, and you can get their opinions. There are places to go for opinion. The places that are missing are the places for just the facts. Like, we've lost all those places. If you want opinion, you can find it. You can't just find, hey, on Tuesday at this time, this thing happened. Can we just, I need more of that.
All right. And last question, Sarah Bahu, what do you think about the jury finding agency, even though Waldman didn't confirm?
I think that they had enough circumstantial evidence to make that leap. I am curious about how they found the willful falsity, how they can prove that he knew it was false. Like, how do you know that Waldman didn't think that that was the truth? But I think that this is where the jury was probably compromising. And I would rather have them compromise than hang and never have an answer. That would have been awful. That would have been so bad. Can you imagine, Adam, if they came back at the end and like, we can't decide? Can you imagine?
No, because I feel like this took over everyone's lives for a month, especially yours. Did your kids did your family just like, were they probably just like, where's mom? She's living up in the studio.
Griffin knew. I tried to make sure that once I was done for the night that I had time with the family. But Griffin, every time I walk to the office, is like, Mom, you're working a lot right now. I'm like, I am working a lot right now, buddy. So we definitely try to balance that. It didn't help that right on the edge of me working a lot, my friend and I had plans to go see a concert, and I felt awful about it. Thankfully, my kids are at an age where they get it, and they've been tremendously supportive. So we've got some things planned where we have decompressed off of tech time with the kids coming up. So
awesome. And then hopefully you never know, maybe I'll see you again soon, and not behind a camera, because I always have so much fun with you. And Emily, I know that you have places to go, and I wanted to say thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been wild. It's been great. I always love coming on the channel and having a chat with you about the other stuff going on, because we get to have those conversations. And it's, I see the chat talking about where you guys have seen me. I had no idea I was on TV in France, but thank you. I've done a lot of media appearances, and then those kind of end up also being shared with networks, and they kind of have gone like this. So there's been lots of purple-headed lawyer all over the place. It's been very fun to get to bring a little bit of that conversation. So thank you.
Of course, we love it. Adam. And I can't wait to talk to you tonight after the trailer drop. We'll see you soon.
I'm so excited. You guys, if you don't know what Adam's talking about, can you just, before I bounce off, can you just share what's happening a little bit? Can we get like a Lauderd sneak peek? I mean, there's only a few of us here. Just
definitely
tell them what to expect.
A top secret interview that I worked on, and Emily knows what I'm talking about. We talked a little bit about it, but I'm dropping a trailer tonight at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and then it's going to be a 2-part interview. So you guys will get to see it this week. Everyone is going to freak out. It's just beyond.
Set your alarm. Prepare to be shook. Prepare to be shook. So for all of my housewives, law nerds, prepare to be shook.
Yeah. And it's also, if you guys want to join us for the premiere of the trailer tonight, it drops at 5:30, and it's pinned at the top of the link, or the link is pinned at the top of the chat.
You're premiering it, so you're going to be in the chat.
I'm going to,
as everybody is
for this. I definitely need to be. Yeah. Yes, we'll see. But Emily, we know you're busy, so we love you, and I will text you right after this.
Bye.
Bye, Emily. All right, guys. So thank you so much to all of the law nerds showing up and showing out. We really appreciate you guys. If you're into Bravo, if you're into Housewives, if you're into great interviews that we have coming your way, especially with the trailer drop tonight at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, then make sure that you guys, hit that subscribe button. We also have a lot of extra things coming your way. We're launching memberships this week, so that'll be a lot of fun. And memberships, don't worry, it's not taking away from the content that we already have. It's just bonus content. It's behind the scenes into my lives, behind the scenes into, not my lives, but my life with Jason behind the scenes conversations with you guys who are members, and behind the scenes into our interviews and what that journey looked like, our travels, everything. So not taking away from any of our content. I just want to make sure that was clear. David Epic, thank you so much. 9,000 plus viewers. Please press that like button. We love you guys. Love you, love you, love you. Thank you to all of our amazing mods, and thank you to an incredible live chat. And thank you to the Law Nerds, Pod Nerds, and Emily D. Baker. I'm dropping another video right after this, literally in 5 seconds. So we'll see you in a second. Bye, guys. Love you. Bye, bye, bye. Love you.